We're on. All right, kick us off, Mr. Jewel Kim.
All right, welcome back to the podcast, The Asian Way.
The Asian Way, that's what we call it, the Asian Way.
We're here with Austin Stout, our dear friend. How are you?
I'm doing good, my guy. Thanks for having me on.
You guys don't know each other that well, do you?
We met like 3 times, but like briefly always, what?
Yeah.
I'm actually excited because I haven't talked to you about the stuff you're doing for a long time. We've spoke about it here and there just a little bit, but not actually in depth. So I'm curious when I get into it a little bit. But first, tell us just about yourself, when you came to Germany. So he's from America. From America, we moved here actually almost on like the same day, something weird like that.
I think it was actually the same day.
Yeah, which is crazy. And then we met each other probably 6 months after that, something like that. But yeah, just tell a little bit about yourself since you came here. What your experience has been, I guess, moving away from home, from your family, and starting a life in Europe.
Yeah, so I came to Germany. I had the chance to come here first to Hamburg for a week. I was playing semi-professional soccer at the time and had a good taste for Germany. It was good. It was a good experience. And at the time, I had the luck to meet a couple of guys who were trying to start a business. They wanted to bring college guys.
Can you just move it like
America.
a little closer?
How's that?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. They were trying to start a business where you take guys from American colleges who were good soccer players, but weren't good enough to go to the MLS, didn't want to do or try to do the USL route where you're traveling around the whole country for $2,000 a year, that kind of thing.
Understandable.
Exactly. And so the thing was, come to Germany, you can do a master's program, you can still play soccer at a decent level, and you can come do that for a couple of years. So I said, yeah, why not? We did it. Came then studied at the Sporthochschule Köln, as the sport university here.
Yeah.
Did a master's program and then played soccer for a couple of years.
That was the guy I did a video for, wasn't it?
That you did the video for?
I think I did a video for them, didn't I? We did that day in the life thing with where you took over the Instagram for a day and we did your...
Oh, we did do that. Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
That was at the beginning of my video career. That was probably one of the first videos I made, to be honest. Yeah. That wasn't for my YouTube channel.
You saved me a lot of money with that, right?
Did I?
Yeah.
I did. You got some discounts, huh?
They wanted to do like I think their bill was like $2,000 or something for the whole experience.
Yeah.
We got here, Corona happened, couldn't play for like a year and a half. There was some things from their side they didn't do. Yeah. And then we just came to the agreement, okay, you don't have to pay anything, but do some marketing for us. I think that video saved me like $2,000.
You're telling me now? Yeah. 4 years later. Jeez. Well, I'm glad I could help you out with that. Yeah. So you did that in Hamburg and then you moved to Cologne. We played on the same team for 2 years or 1? I think 2 seasons, right? I think the first COVID season, which was 7 games. And then I think you were also there for the season where we had a full season.
Yeah.
And then after that...
The relegation year.
the relegation year. Yeah, and then after that, we didn't see each other that much after then. So yeah, I'm basically curious from then until now, your journey. I know you've been doing personal training, but I don't really know how you got your first clients, how you kept them, this sort of thing like that. How you built it up.
Yeah, so I started with personal training probably the last 6 months of my studies at the sport university and started at a normal gym somewhere in the south part of the city. Good experience, but one of the things that's unfortunate about that industry is if you're working at a gym, you tend to get paid only for the time where you're actually running your sessions. And so you might have a day where you work a couple hours in the morning, work a couple hours at night. It's the normal kind of rhythm of a personal training schedule. And then you get to the end of the day, maybe made $60.
Yeah.
And so it got to the point where I said, if you're going to take this somewhere, you have to do it on your own. And so that was the idea, to start trying to work on my own.
I have an interesting question to jump in.
Yeah.
Let's say from your perspective, so you say it's difficult because you only get paid for the sessions you're doing. Let's say you get it to the point where you have your own gym and you have your own trainers. How could you structure that so it would be good for them? Or how would you solve that problem? Because let's say it's difficult for someone who owns a gym, right, to pay someone the whole day if there's only 2 sessions. How would you fix that? Or what could you do you think, if there is a better option?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question. So the way that I would like to structure it when I go out and get my own place, you focus on small group personal training where you have somewhere between 4 to 6 guys they're going to pay a pretty heavy price, but it's going to be probably about a third of what your personal training rates are going to be.
Mhm.
So you can make somewhere between $300-400 for the session that you run with those guys, somewhere between $40-50 a client.
Mm-hmm.
You do that a few hours in the morning, maybe a midday session, a few hours at night. The reality is you can still pay above market for your trainers. I think that's possible. I think people get underpaid in that world. But what you have to do is you got to give the young guys, the guys right out of college who are interested in working, they're really interested in learning about physical fitness and strength and conditioning. You got to give them a place where they can learn business, and you got to give them a place where they can learn about strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
Because most of these gyms where you go in and they say, this is your hourly rate, and good luck.
Yeah.
Have fun. I don't care what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question. In Germany, if you work at a company, I didn't know, like, as a fitness trainer, you only get paid by the hours that you actually work. Because isn't there like a what's it called? Arbeitsrecht.
Yeah, like a workers'
law.
protection sort of thing.
Like if you stay there the whole day, like
Yeah, but
aren't you supposed to get paid?
That's the
whole
thing,
day?
though. I don't think they say, hey, you have to stay here the whole day. It's probably you have a session at 2 and you have a session at 5 and you can do what you want between.
Yeah, it depends on the gym you're at. So like the public gyms that have guys there the whole time, of course you're getting paid if you're there, and maybe you get a commission on your personal trainings. But for a lot of the gyms, especially the smaller gyms, you'll get hired as a Freiberufler, an independent person.
Right.
So you're working and representing that
And
company.
you send them a bill.
Exactly, and you send them a bill. So you're working independently, but you don't have the advantages of an independent worker. Yeah,
That's the loophole.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I heard like in the big gyms, you can rent the place for a month, let's say 900 euros, and then you can give personal training there, but you just have to pay the gym the rent.
Yeah.
Like I heard that in Fitness First, it's like 800-900 euros. You have to pay as a personal trainer if you want to give personal training there.
Oh, you did that as well, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Pay people or something, right?
Yeah, it's a good way to start if you're trying to go self-employed, because you have everything you need to give a professional training. So theoretically, based on the customers you want to give, the type of training you want to give, you can try to find a gym where you can do that and rent a space. But it's a good way to build a client base and a group of people you can count on before you try to take the next step of getting your own place and getting the investment that you're going to need for that.
I kind of cut you off and jumped in there. So you finished your studies, started working in that gym. It was difficult because you're only getting paid per session. What did you do after that?
Found my first customer.
How'd you get your first customer? You steal it from the gym?
I took a couple of guys, yeah. But that's also
You're basically like, I can't ask you to come train with me. I'm not allowed to take you. If you want to come, you can come.
That's always one of those things where I understand it from the gym's perspective, because you're taking a lot of money from them. Yeah. But you can't. What are you going to do? You're going to own a person? Yeah, the person says, hey, I have this relationship with this guy. It's personal training. I see this guy every week. And I decide to go out on my own. If he wants to train with me, it's pretty difficult to get him not to be able to train with me. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's these non-disclosure clauses where... I
mean, I can understand it. Like, think on the other side. Let's say if you had a gym, right, and you got your trainers and you got your clients that are coming and they're training with these guys, and this guy just fucks off and takes 6 of his guys with him. You're going to say, man, come on, right?
Yeah.
But
I think it's the industry. Like, how else are you going to get the clients? So how do you market yourself?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I started that journey by trying to market myself as a guy who relieves pain. You're going to relieve your pain with functional training. If you're kind of all-day pains and problems that people have, that's how I'm going to relieve that through the training sessions that we do.
Which is something I think you believe in, for sure.
I do, but it's interesting that really got interpreted as like a physiotherapist. People looked at me a little bit in that way. And one of the things that I think became clear to me over the last couple of years is there's a big difference between what a physio does and what a trainer should be doing. And so if you're really beat up and you got injuries, you're just not ready to be in my hands yet. Once you're feeling better, then we can bring you in and we can get you stronger and get you fitter.
Wow, I think there's definitely a big difference. So you got your first clients from the gym you're working at, and then what about after that? I saw you were doing some like flyers and stuff like that. posting a lot on Instagram?
Mostly word of mouth.
Yeah?
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine, his boss ended up being my first customer that I got on my own. He was dealing with some problems. He said, yeah, I know a guy, go talk to him.
Yeah.
And really most of my business came from that guy.
Really?
He gave me another connection. I got in contact with his former physiotherapist. Physiotherapist said, yeah, I like you. Take these guys. They're ready to get some serious training.
Yeah.
And from those guys, everything else kind of...
That's crazy, yeah, how it goes like that. I always find like if you do treat one client super well, no matter what it is, you get like 3 more from that. And then from those 3, you get 3 more. Right? And it just multiplies like over and over.
Yeah.
So after you finished your studies, why did you want to become a personal trainer?
That's a good question.
Oh, I guess first, what were you studying? Exactly.
Yeah, the title, the master's program was Human Technology in Sport and Medicine. So really, if we're being completely honest, not so much to do with the training side of things. Had a lot to do with if, for example, you need a new leg, what kind of knee replacement are you going to get? That was kind of how that program unfolded. And there was a lot of other topics, but the training thing was personal interest more than anything else. Before I came to Germany, I had worked as a personal trainer as well for about 6 months after my college and before I came to the school here. And it just felt right. I'd always been into sport. It was always kind of my direction. I could do it well myself. And so it felt like a good way to be able to help other people.
So what do you think? Like for me, I started my cleaning company because I wanted to earn money. That was like my primarily goal with the business. What was it for you? Was it like more like a passion thing or more like if I become a personal trainer, I can earn good money? What was the main reason?
Somewhere in between. It was work that I liked doing. But yeah, of course, the reason to start doing it in the first place was to make money while I was studying. And then from there, it kind of spiraled. Now it's definitely is transitioned more into how can I make it something that I can live from and not just something that I do to pay the bills, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's something you can actually build.
What do you mean build?
Yeah, build into a real business, something that,
Yeah, like
scale it up.
Coaches, gyms, and stuff like that, or?
Exactly.
Okay. What about you?
What about me?
Did you start the media thing because you want to earn more money or because it was a passion thing?
The reason why I actually started the media thing was because of football. Because I was working a lot in the garden, right? And it was like doing these 6, 7, 8, 9 hour days, working really hard and then going to training. And at training, you're exhausted, right? So at the time, I was like, okay, I have this thing that I can do where I can sit on my computer a little bit. I can sit in a cafe and I'm going to earn basically the same thing of what I'm earning with 30% of the work. And it's not with my body. So I can basically get this work done, get my money, pay all my stuff, and then I can be fit for training. That was basically the main reason, actually. Let's jump back a little bit, back to football. Get back to the beautiful game. So growing up for you, was football always like this dream? Or what? Yeah?
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Nah.
Yeah. Was it? I mean, it's definitely a dream, yeah. That was the goal for a long time was try to play professional soccer.
When did you start?
4 or 5 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's early for, well, I don't want to say American, but...
What are you talking about, man?
America and Canada, it's not like a football country. Like now it's become more popular, but like...
Yeah, but it doesn't mean you don't start when you're young.
Yeah? Oh.
I started, I don't know, as long as I can remember, kicking the ball around. Why are you discriminating like that? What I was wondering is, so a couple things. From the time you stopped, let's say the time you started thinking about stopping to the time you stopped, how much time was there in between that? Like, was it like a slow decision or was it kind of like a couple months where all of a sudden it was like, fuck this?
I mean, you knew me at that time.
Yeah.
So it was like a slow, painful death. I mean, it was, dude. Like, this is one of the other things that's interesting when you're interested in strength and conditioning and fitness. You should listen to those guys because they know it from personal experience how to injure their bodies.
Yeah.
Like, that's when I actually got smart about training was after my first 6 months here, Corona happens, whatever it was. I trained a bunch and completely
You turned into a
body.
little pit bull.
Oh, dude, I put on like a lot of muscle.
Oh, he was big. He was actually
dude.
big. Yeah, he got big.
I looked good. but I couldn't run anymore. I just lifted weights for 6 months and I couldn't run anymore.
He actually got big. I remember him showing me pictures and videos and stuff. Actually, I would have known you kind of through that time, kind of to the end of that, I think.
Would have been, yeah.
Yeah.
Would have been.
I remember you showing me videos and stuff, and I was like, damn. Yeah, you were going to the gym a lot.
Oh, dude, I got
bored.
ripped.
You were bored.
And then you got back on the field and you're like, oh shit.
I will never forget this. I showed up to the first training after Corona,
Yeah.
or still in it. You couldn't have physical contact with people. There's still space from guys.
Mm.
We're just passing a ball around.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the first time I started running again. I'm like, oh my God, this isn't right. I've made a mistake.
It's so crazy how different fitness on the pitch is compared to gym work or running.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. The second you get on the pitch, it's like, whoa,
Yeah. Mhm.
this is something different.
Well, you see, like, strength and conditioning is a tool, but it can't be the main thing. If it's the main thing, it's a problem. You got to use it as a tool to support the athletics, and I missed that at that time.
Yeah.
And so it was, to be honest with you, man, the dream was probably over. I was probably a little unrealistic about it at that time. But
Yeah.
by the time I came back, like our time together when we played, it was already over. It
Yeah?
was just a slow, painful death
Mm.
from that point on.
How old were you?
I was...
You're about the
20
same age I am now. I think you were 24.
23, 24, yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere around that time.
How old are you right now?
28.
28,
Yeah.
23, 24. And you stopped football officially at 24?
Would have been 26, I think.
26.
Because we started playing around... Yeah, I would have been around 24. You came here when?
Well, at the time, I would have been 22.
Yeah.
And I'm 24 now, and you're, 26, yeah.
Yeah, 26.
How's it been? Not playing football?
What is it like once you stopped? Like, was it tough in the beginning with identity? Because, like, I think about me, like, if I stopped, like, I'd have all these identity crisis, and, like, the people back home, that's all they know me for. Like, oh, you still playing football? Like, football this, football that. Like, it's like the person I am. It's who I am. Like, what am I going to do without it? You know?
Yeah. I would say, yeah. I definitely spent time, probably still am a little bit, looking for that next kind of chapter to really invest in.
Mm.
But it wasn't, because it wasn't a pretty end for me. Like,
Yeah.
if I could go back, I would tell myself, just stop now.
Yeah.
Stop at this point when it's still a good thing for you.
Yeah.
Because the last 2 years were just,
Yeah.
dude.
What happened, bro?
Well, to be honest with you,
What happened?
the biceps were too big.
The way he's describing it, like, bro, these last 3 years.
It was like, okay, so the body wasn't working right anymore.
Yeah.
And it really, I mean, that was a big thing, though,
Yeah.
because I couldn't play
Yeah.
like I normally played before. And then it just, of course, I don't know how it was for you, because you... did you have the professional ambition at one point as well? Was
Yeah,
that,
of course, bro.
Yeah.
Of course, I had it until
He made it for 6 months.
No, I had it until I was like 20.
Mhm.
But after that, I was playing like in the 5th league and stuff like that, and then that's like where I thought, all right.
Okay, well, talking about what happened, actually.
Yeah.
Why you lost it.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
Why
I
I
would like
lost?
to know.
Why you lost it, because you had that dream. You were almost there.
Yeah, I was almost there.
Why are you looking at me like I'm stupid?
Nah. I was like, nah, because I had a 4th league contract, right? After the U19s.
Mhm.
And the preseason started, and then we had like these running drills and stuff like that. And I have to be honest, I wasn't the fittest one, right? I hated running, like just running with the ball and stuff, and running in the game. It's not a problem, but like just jogging, that was not my thing, right? And we had a 5 kilometer run with the trainer in the city, like with a bunch of other companies and people, and it was like a city event, right? I was there, and I was like the youngest player, right? Because I just came from the under 19s. The trainer, he's running with us, and he was like a bully, right? He was a mean trainer, and we were running the 5 kilometer, and then like 3 kilometers I was with the group. But suddenly, bro, my lungs were dead, my legs were dead, and I just started falling out. Like, and I was at the last place from our group, and then at the end, I was 30 seconds behind the trainer. Bro. For like 2-3 weeks, we had team sessions. He just sent me running.
Yeah.
I never touched the ball. And then I came back and I was like 18, 19 at the time. Of course, I was super nervous and I was the center back or the defensive midfielder. I touched the ball and I made a mistake. And from then on, he's like, dude, what's master? What are you doing? You're supposed to be like motivated, blah, blah. And he just fucked my head. And after that, we just agreed, all right, let's terminate the contract. And that was like basically the end of me. I played like 5 years.
Does that remind you of something?
Dude, I think there's the majority of players have that coach that just suck the fun out of playing.
Yeah.
Is it the trainer?
It's the trainer.
I think
yeah.
the bold one.
Yeah.
Nah, but like that was like the end of me. And then I just realized from like 20 to like, let's say 20 to 21 that I'm not going to make it. But still I was like trying, but not 100%. But I knew from then on. So for me, it was like a slow end as well.
Yeah.
I still play football in the 7th league just for fun. But I have like no ambition, you know. It's just like playing for fun.
Yeah.
See, that's interesting though, because when you stopped, you were like, I'm not playing. What am I going to play for? In Landesliga or something, right?
Yeah, I had no interest.
Zero
interest. But it was because though, because that 2-year process was every day felt like a grind. There wasn't a lot of fun into it, but there was still that like little piece of me that couldn't accept that that dream was over. And so it was like I was there, but I wasn't really there. I was hurt, but I could kind of still move around. And it was like, when it was over, it was, I just need to be as far away from this place, from these people as I possibly can.
You hated them, right?
I didn't have any like bad feeling towards them. It was just a me thing. I just have to get out because it's playing soccer is this kind of environment. There's a special type of person that plays. It's a special type of bond, and I just needed to be away from that world for a while.
So if you could go back in time, like to that place, would you try 100% again, or would you stop much earlier?
I would have either stopped earlier, or, of course, you can't do that, right? I would have been more honest about where I was in my career. Yeah.
So from what I'm understanding, you would have stopped earlier.
Yeah, I think if I could go back now, I would just say, just
really
crazy. Stop 2 years earlier. Yeah.
Because if I think about it, like if I could go back in time when I'm 19, I would have been like, bro, make that fucking run. Don't fall behind.
Yeah.
You know?
But the thing is, I had that experience at like 17, 18 when I started playing college in the States. Because that is, like, I was playing Division I. That's the good teams there, and I was at a big university, are similar to the Regionalliga or the fourth league in Germany. So it's a good level, and fitness-wise, oh my God, dude. Yeah. You should have seen how fit I was at that time. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, their fitness training is a different level there.
It's ridiculous. You're up lifting at 6 a.m. 3-4 days a week. You're lifting at 6 a.m., so you're in the gym before 6. Yeah. You're training every day. You get 1 day off a week. I don't know if it's still like that now. And you're doing it all year round. So everything is professional except for the fact that we didn't get money.
Yeah.
No. We were talking about if you can go back in time, would you stop earlier or would you go with it more? Yeah. So my answer was, my advice to myself is just don't fall behind in the 5 kilometer run. But bro, maybe at the end, like if I didn't fall back behind then maybe I would have done something else like a little bit later, you know? I think it wasn't meant to be with me.
Yeah, but the problem was not that you fell behind. The problem is that when the coach was screaming at you afterwards, it broke you basically.
Yeah. I was very fragile back then.
And there you have to give that much more respect to the people that actually make it through. You have to be so mentally...
Yeah. Either you have to be really strong.
Fortitude, yeah.
You have to be really strong mentally, or you just have to be stupid.
What was your mental hold up? Oh, you're still playing, so maybe I shouldn't say that. You know?
I'm still playing. My mental is still there. I don't know. Same thing all you guys are talking about, but I'm just still in the middle of it, basically.
Mine was, I had a problem being successful. So I would train. There was a time when I was, again, 17, 18. And I said, okay, of course, I know that you're already kind of old by that point if you're not moving towards the professional direction. And I was like, I'm just going to put in Kobe Bryant style 4 hours a day until I'm good enough.
Yeah.
And I was unbelievably technical, way more technical than you had ever seen me, way fitter than you had ever seen me. But when it mattered, I couldn't relax enough to actually bring it out in moments that I needed to.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing. Yeah, this guy used to be a technical machine. Two touch, no chance.
Really?
I got no chance.
No chance. That's mentally is, I think, so much more important. Like if you could put it in percentages, I say it would be at least like 70-30. It's so important mentally. You can be so technical and so fit, but you get on the field and you get a ball and you have two players running at you. What are you going to do, right? That's the part that makes a difference. Like, you just can stay calm or not. Yeah, I also have problems with that too.
What's your advice to Simon? Because Simon's coming back from a 1-year injury, and I think maybe it's not the same, but like after COVID, you came back as like the American pit bull, right? And Simon, he was always in the gym for like a year now, right? Like, of course, you've been doing stuff with the ball and stuff, but he hasn't had team training. So he's coming back, and he's also 24. And you were back then 24 as well. Maybe it's kind of like this.
26. Oh, no, 24 after COVID, I guess, after the break, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like kind of like in a similar situation. And he's also ambitious. He wants to become pro. What's your advice to him?
Is that the goal still?
Yeah.
Play professionally?
Yeah.
Regionalliga, 4th league, something like that? Or is it the ambition greater than that?
Honestly, I don't really have interest to play here, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
Somewhere else. I'm looking at the CPL right now, to be honest. Maybe Canada, a smaller country somewhere.
Okay.
And like get in there and then maybe come back here. But honestly, playing in Germany doesn't interest me anymore. At all.
Make sure are you 100% fit or?
No, I couldn't say 100% fit because haven't had much team training. Like physically, I'm fit and I go in the gym a lot, doing a lot of running and stuff. But again, nothing's like training on the field, right?
I would say have fun, and I know that sounds like a corny thing, but I think that matters because you're already in an age where people could honestly look and go, it's too late. Yeah. But if that's still what you believe in, you have to somehow still enjoy that process and get great at one particular thing. Get amazing at one particular thing.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. Where are you playing now? Are you still on the wings?
Yeah, winger, right back.
Hit 1,000 crosses a day. Just get amazing at that so nobody can do it better. Because you have to find a role. That's the thing if you're playing professionally. Unless you're one of those guys who the team's going to be centered around, which isn't a lot of guys. You got to do something that's great that makes you useful.
Yeah, that's true. I had a coach actually say that when I was younger. And he said you have to have one thing that you can just do better than everybody. And even if everything else is sort of average, you do that one thing incredibly, it's going to stand out and people are going to notice that. Yeah.
That's a very good advice. Well, what do you think your special thing would be then?
That's a good question. I guess if I had one, I would not be where I am right now.
No, maybe you're probably good at something more than like the other things, and then maybe you can try to like specialize into that. You know.
Honestly, probably my best thing is just like fitness, just running, always pressing, that sort of stuff. I wouldn't say anything. Technically, I'm good. Finishing, I'm good, but nothing is like outstanding. I would say just fitness, working.
What's your bottom end?
Good question. Mental, for sure.
But how does that pan out? You know what I'm saying? Because like if you know what your big mistakes are, your big faults that give coaches headaches, and you can eliminate that, then you can still be useful. That's what I've been trying to do a lot lately, just watching a lot of video and stuff, because I always watch my favorite team and stuff, but I didn't watch like a lot of video, right? So that's what I'm trying to do now. Okay, like what are the actual options you can do when you get the ball? What are the decisions you can make? Because if there was something that I was the worst at, it would definitely be that. Like making the right decisions, staying calm instead of just getting the ball and fucking doing something to do something, you know?
Yeah, would probably be that for sure. Yeah, that's true. If you can eliminate that, then I think also having one thing that's really good is very good. But I think if you can also have nothing that's bad, that's also good. Because when you look at the pros, like if you watch, you have it in your head that, okay, like, oh man, they're amazing and they're doing these crazy crosses and these crazy balls and they're scoring these ridiculous goals. Like that's very rare. Most of the time, all that's happening is they're not making mistakes. They do all the simple things right. 1 touch, 2 touch, here, there, and they just don't make mistakes. The amount of mistakes is just way less than, let's say, in Oberliga, Regionalliga, something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
I bet they can always do like the complicated things, but you know, why do them if you can just do it in a simple way?
Yeah. Yeah, I think eliminating, like you said, if you can eliminate the bad stuff, that's good.
So maybe back to you, Austin. So you're trying to grow your personal training business. What's like the end goal in your head?
Well, are you? Is that the goal right now? Are you trying to, because it might have changed a little bit now.
Well, we're moving to Switzerland.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be moving to Switzerland, so I'll be starting over. But yeah, that's the idea. I can do that well, and I think so. It's interesting. I've been doing it for 2 years now. I learned that's the cool thing when you try to start a business, especially because I had no experience at all with that. I never had like a real job. I just worked, jobs to kind of keep you going, but I never actually worked before. And so you're just thrown into the water, and you kind of have to figure it out. You have no idea how to market. You have no idea how to sell. And now I know how I want to structure that actual business. So that will be the goal when I get to Switzerland. I know how I want to run it.
Yeah.
It'll be about trying to put that into practice now.
It's kind of cool. You have, like often you or I ask this question to people, okay, if you could go back to or we ask ourselves as well, if you could go back to when you started, what would you do differently knowing what you know now? And you basically have the chance to do that. Take all your experience you've had for the last, let's say, 4 years, and you are restarting. And you can use all that experience and start fresh with that. Yeah.
I'd be curious to get your guys' opinion on this, because my feeling is you just go do more, because you're going to learn. You're going to make a ton of mistakes, but you're going to learn so much from that, and you're going to speed up your progress 10 times more than you're going to do if you're sitting around planning. That's the biggest mistake I made over the last couple of years. Way too much thinking and planning, not enough trying.
I'll tell you what, when we had the media company together, the amount of planning we did was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the amount of things we actually did from that was next to none.
Yeah.
So much planning. 100%. I agree with that 100%. Just do more. And every time you make a mistake, then unless you're stupid, you're going to learn from it. And you're not going to make that mistake again. Or maybe you will, but you'll know the solution then to do right away.
And you got to balance it. Like, one of the things I try to do a lot, I'm a big reader, like a really big reader.
That's good.
You like, go find mentors, go find guys you can actually talk to. That really, my first customer was a really big mentor for me. He has a successful business, and it's good to be able to bounce things off him. He gives some advice, try this, try that. And that's a positive thing. You need also the time to just try to learn concepts, learn your business, learn what works, learn what doesn't work. There's been a million people that have done it before you, especially if you're not reinventing personal training. I'm not reinventing the wheel. So there's plenty of resources where you can go to try to grow something, but you got to be able to you don't live in that world only. Go to that world a lot, but spend most of your time trying to implement stuff and seeing what works and trying to find your groove in that world.
Yeah.
I think you said it right as well. Like, if you're a big reader, you read a lot of books, you get a lot of content and ideas and stuff. Like, if it's only in your head, like, you get nothing from it. But if you actually implement it, then that's when it comes handy, you know?
Do you always have a book going? Like, are you always reading a book?
Yeah, 1 or 2.
Yeah?
1 or 2? Can you read 2 books at the same time?
Yeah.
How many books do you think you read in a year? Probably hard to say, but
It's only
because I read very rarely, like
1 book in 3 years.
for real. Maybe one book a year, something like that. I probably only finished like 3 or 4 books in my life, to be honest.
Come on, you've read more than 3 or 4 books.
Okay, maybe in high school or something for book studies, but
yeah.
I've read Shoe Dog, Nike. Have you read that one?
No.
Oh,
That's good.
Such a good book. That book is awesome, especially for business. Shoe Dog I've read. Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh, I read that one too. Yeah.
What do you think?
You didn't really like it that much, huh? Or
I mean, yeah. To be honest, that was my experience. Actually, funny.
Really?
Funnily enough, yeah. Like but just with my parents. My mom she made a good income. Definitely made more money than my dad, but my dad 100% had more of the entrepreneurial spirit. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, those are the only 2 books I can remember. I started that one. We were both reading it, the investing one, the Intelligent Investor.
Yeah.
I could not get through that. I could not get through that book. So boring. So many graphs. So many.
Yeah, but the basic message is pretty easy.
Yeah, the basic message was the same throughout the whole book. You could have read the first page and got the message from the whole book.
Just don't gamble and put your money in smart places. Do it consistently and take home 3 to 6%.
Yeah, and just that or read 600 pages and a bunch of graphs.
Well, what kind of books do you read? Financial books or?
So that's been like a 2-year thing. Something I'm definitely going to continue. It started with reading pretty much every strength and conditioning textbook that I could read because I wanted to get really good at the strength and conditioning training side of things. And then from there, transitioned into a lot about business, a lot about networking, and recently it's been a literature and philosophy thing.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What about you? Are you a big reader?
Well, I used to be. I used to be a big reader. And
you know what I think? I think you're one of those people that thinks of yourself as a reader. Like if somebody random asks you, you are 100%. If someone asked you, hey, do you read? You'd go, yeah, I love reading. I read all the time.
Bro, don't underestimate me, please, yeah? No. Like, back when I was really young, I used to read a lot of books because my parents always gave me pocket money when I finished a book. So I was like, I'm just gonna skim.
That's some Korean stuff.
That's
How'd they prove it? Did you have to do like a summary, a book report?
No, Asians don't lie, we don't lie. When we say we did that, then we did that, Nah, but like I read a lot because we couldn't watch TV during the week. We could only like watch it in the weekends, and I had a Xbox 360 and then before then PS2, I think, and I can only play that in the weekends. So the only thing I could do is just read books and just hang out with my siblings. So I read a lot of books, but like after like 17, 18, I did read books, but not in that fast pace. Maybe I read like 3 books a year, 4 books a year. I think that's all right. But since like a couple of years now, like 2-3 years, it's so hard to get through a book now. Like I try to read a book, and I love buying books. I love going to the bookshop and which book should I read this time? I buy it, I just stack it, and I never open it.
Yeah.
And I love financial books. It feels like I did something. I accomplished something,
I love financial books.
But I was a big reader, and then I also watched a lot of YouTube videos, like how to start a business, how to do that. But since 2-3 years, I've just stopped, basically. Because I was like, I have so much information in my mind. Like, why am I consuming more and more information if I'm not going to implement it, like as we were talking before, So, I guess I'm not a big reader anymore.
But I think that, to be honest, is probably, and it also led to my piece of advice of doing more, because that's been my experience the last couple of years. Too much information and not enough implementation. I actually think the best way to read a book probably is over that longer period of time, because you have time to actually let it sink in and digest a little bit, and you have the opportunity to actually implement it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way as well. If you finish a book, let's say, you write down the 5 lessons you learned from that book, and you try to like use that 5 lessons in your business for the next 3 months. You try to force it in your business. Then I guess that's the point of reading a book,
You know what's crazy? I was just thinking about the books and stuff. How much? I don't know about you. I don't think you at all. You're probably really good with it. You're probably a little worse, and I'm probably the worst. I'm talking on your phone, on Instagram, scrolling on Instagram. You don't really do that, do you? A bit. But you know, you get stuck in the scroll and you're on there forever. We're the last generation of kids without that. Like, I'm thinking back to my childhood. It is so sad when I think about it. These kids just on their phones. That's terrible. That's terrible. For real. Imagine that, not climbing in trees and stuff. Well, my childhood was amazing. I can't imagine a kid just not having that.
Yeah, I'm not the massive Instagram guy. I definitely was more when I was doing more social media myself. But to be honest,
That's a dangerous place.
Yeah, exactly. I spent too much time on it. I just said, to be honest, it's way more effort than what you're getting out of it. And for now, I just stopped doing it.
Yeah.
It's off the phone.
Did you end up getting any clients through social media?
When I was doing TikTok, yeah, but I knew the guy. So there was a time, I gave a guy some sessions like a long time ago, maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And he found me through there.
So you stopped doing social media then?
For the time being, yeah.
Yeah. How long did you do it for?
6-8 months.
6-8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're posting a lot.
6-8 months. It's a decent period of time.
I was consistent with it. I think if I'm just the quality of it, in my opinion, probably wasn't good enough. Probably a little bit too complicated.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think a little bit too complicated. Because like for me, someone who doesn't know anything about it, who's like most of your clients probably, it was like I had to really like think about it and like listen to it a couple times to actually understand it, right?
Yeah.
And like most people, they'll just like scroll on by, right? It has to be like I showed you that one guy, right? That ginger guy that kind of does all the jokes and stuff. Like that, you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that content, it's so easy to consume, right? It's just like you listen and you understand exactly what he's saying. Yeah, but social media is difficult. So
I think it depends on what you want from it. Like for me, I think
if it's more of a portfolio or something, that's perfect than what you were doing, right?
I see it kind of like a little bit like a business card if I was to do it again.
Yeah.
One, I would pay somebody to do it because it's not my skill set and it takes me forever to do it. It's a huge investment of time and I don't like it. So I'm just just take it, do it, make it look good.
The guy.
Yeah.
I'll fly me out there. I have no problem. Coming to
Yeah,
Switzerland.
we could do that, man. Why not?
Let's see.
Bring
Once you
in
get
the
started
base.
up.
Yeah, but it wasn't my area of expertise, and I think that showed a little bit. But the other piece of it is too, man, there is so much media and so much competition there. And in my business, how many people do I really need?
Yeah.
If I have a small gym that I'm trying to fill up in groups of 6 with people that are paying a high price, I got to know these people. I got to meet these people. So, of course, at some point, you need different streams of marketing to bring you in good leads. But for me, my success right now and where I'm going to target when I go to Switzerland is go meet your target audience face to face, build great connections with people, and let that be your priority at first. Because that's what I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you go to Switzerland, you want to say something?
Nah, I was just gonna throw in the success question.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Success. What is success in your mind? Like what at what point are you gonna say I'm successful? Because we've spoken about this quite a bit, and it's interesting. It's like, when is the end? When does it stop? Right? When would you say, okay, yeah, I'm successful now?
I think the cliche about it being the journey is just fundamentally true. I'd find me one person who gets to a point and they go, okay, I'm done. I'm now successful.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't. But I think even like if you're tuned into some of those dudes who are getting really into the biology side of things, like I think that's biologically true. I don't think you can ever get to a point where you're, out of a singular moment where maybe you've completed something, you've accomplished something, then it starts over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's why you get all those cases of big depression when you have all these people who are wildly successful. You get to the end. As a human, you need this goal and you need something to reach for. It's funny though, isn't it? Because you aren't doing it like some people say, oh yeah, the journey's the best. But at the end of the day, you aren't doing it for the journey. You're doing it for the goal. But when you get to the goal,
that's why the goal should be so big that you can't reach it.
Yeah, that's true. That should always be changing, I think.
Yeah.
Like a goal that's impossible to reach, and then you just plan it step by step.
What do you think about the whole life calling thing? Because that's where I think ultimately people find real success and long-term happiness in their life. Is finding that.
Yeah.
Finding that thing.
I agree with that. I agree with that for sure, 100%. It's funny though, from my own experience. So while I was playing football all the time, it gets to a point where it's not that enjoyable all the time. Like, of course, once I'm on the field and I'm just playing and we're playing a five-a-side and we're warming up and I score a goal, and like, it's amazing. It's this great feeling. But if you look at it all in all from an average, right? Oh, you have to go to training in the evening and you're tired and you get home late and it's not this wonderful experience. And doing business, doing the video stuff, building the gardening company during that time was something cool and positive. And like, this is really enjoyable. And the time where I had my injury and I couldn't play, all that stuff just made me miserable. Like, I didn't get any satisfaction out of getting a new customer, getting a transfer from a customer. All I was thinking about was football. And I got so down every day just because I couldn't play football and I have to be playing football. When I was playing, I wasn't like, wow, this is amazing. You know? It's just this weird... So that's why I would say, okay, now football is 100% my purpose, my calling. That's the thing that's going to make me happy. But once I'm playing again...
See, but to me, I think we get that idea of like a calling a little bit wrong, because I think we when we talk about that, then we search for something that we feel good doing or something like that. I think it kind of works. Like Robert Greene, are you familiar with him? He's the guy that wrote all those books on power, seduction.
I think
you've probably seen the books. Yeah. They're super popular.
Yeah.
But he had a good point about, like, as you're looking for something to master,
yeah,
look back to your childhood and see the things you were naturally drawn to, and the types of things you did just naturally, and you could find yourself continuously drawn to.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about that, though, is if you're being really honest with yourself, all of the things you think you might want as an adult or a young adult are a lot of times in conflict with those things. And that's what I find interesting with that, because I think you have to you listen and you're pulled into something, but it's not necessarily your personal choice, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's definitely. Imagine if everybody could actually do the thing they wanted to do growing up, the stuff they loved. Imagine if everyone actually, because you just lose it at some point, right? You go to school and you just, eventually this stuff just disappears, and, you know, life gets real and you have to pay bills and you have to, you know. The thing is, though, there is actually a way to do that stuff that you loved and actually earn money for it and make a living from it. But the problem is most people just lose that.
Or they're after other things.
Yeah.
Like, what were you drawn to as a kid? I know, okay, soccer, presumably, but what else?
I don't know. I was trying to think of that.
Climbing trees.
I thought that too, climbing trees. But I don't know. What was I drawn to as a kid? I always wrestled with my brothers and stuff. That was a lot of fun.
Anything in school? Like, was there any topic you were super interested in?
PE. Not really, honestly. School was never really my thing. I didn't even finish grade 12 math. Like, I failed.
Didn't you finish that in Germany at some point?
Yeah, I was doing some online courses. I never finished them. Right? School was never my thing. I got 26% on my biology final exam. Like, I just scraped my way through school. I was, just athlete stuff, physical stuff. Like right now, if I was to make that decision to stop playing football, I would go all in with martial arts for sure. That's like the next thing that I would do, right? So I think for me, it's definitely sport. Like,
putting a lot of brain cells on the line.
Well, you can do jiu-jitsu or something, grappling. Doesn't have to be boxing. Speaking of, we've been doing a lot of boxing lately.
Yeah.
They're doing sparring. Look at all that stuff outside. Yeah, but for me, I think just anything physical.
Do you remember that one Christmas?
I remember. I boxed your nose off.
We went to... Through a mutual friend, we ended up spending a Christmas here. Both of us didn't go home.
Yeah.
And we went to this sport facility. I don't even remember where it is.
Was that Christmas Eve?
I think it was Christmas itself.
Yeah?
Yeah, we were there the whole night.
I can't believe we spent that at Andreas.
It's just this massive sport complex. The guy is awesome, by the way.
Yeah?
I've only had positive experiences with him. Yeah. But we were just at this massive sport hall for Christmas Eve.
He's not so awesome.
No, you don't like him?
Well, we're going to do it after.
Yeah. If he's listening, I'm a fan.
Anyway. Okay.
Yeah, so we just
I'm a
we
fan
just
as
spent
well.
this
I don't
whole.
know you, but
It was such a weird Christmas Eve, and it was so much fun. We were just playing sports all night, and somehow we ended up boxing each other, and yeah.
He has his family's super rich,
yeah.
or was super rich, his parents, I guess, and they had this super big sports facility in Langenfeld, and they have everything there. Tennis,
Crazy.
ping pong. What else do they have?
Yeah, gym, indoor
Huge,
soccer
a whole
fields,
huge
tennis
gym.
courts,
They got
basketball
everything there.
courts.
And yeah, we used to always go there and play five-a-side during COVID. Oh, that was so fun. That was so fun.
He
That was
boxed
good
your nose off, or
That was so fun.
Or
I got a
how
couple
was
jabs
it?
in there.
Yeah, it was an evenly matched
Evenly
sparring
matched.
event.
I ended up.
And he's got reach on me too.
So he has 2 sons, right? This guy.
Yeah.
How old was Lewis then? 9 or
Young kids.
maybe 10. And one of them was 10 and 12, let's say. And they were boxing. And the one like beat up the other one. So I'm like, let me in here. I just fucked them up. Nah, it wasn't like hard sparring, but he got a couple jabs. What brought us there? Oh yeah, martial arts, calling, stuff like that. So my calling, just physical stuff for sure. Wrestling, climbing trees, playing football, archery. I had a lot of archery. Nothing. I don't know. What else? What about you guys? What about you? What was your thing when you were young? What's or stuff that you love doing?
So I was always interested in the like world events. I know that sounds weird. That's how you were interested in world events as a kid, but I just remember like big events always struck me. And I was going through my college years, and actually before I decided I was going to come to Germany to play soccer and study, there was a small time where I almost studied philosophy in a master's degree and tried to pursue a doctorate because I think I told you that one time.
Yeah.
I had a couple of courses at the end of my program that were in that direction. I was just fascinated by them. And you see like how does society actually form at its root, at its actual foundation, and I was absolutely fascinated by it.
Society's pretty fucked up right now, though.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
I have a question there. Do you know like a lot of things about those kind of things, like society?
I mean, I'm not
You're not the expert, but you know a lot of things. Yeah.
about pick a topic.
Okay.
You know,
No, because
ask your question first.
You're saying the society's fucked right now, right?
Yeah.
I wonder.
Well, all I'm saying is, everything I'm saying is just news I've got off Instagram. That's it.
And that's the big question. Sometimes I think the society was always fucked, like back in the days as well, in the past. But now we just see the news. It's everywhere. That's why it seems more fucked now. But my question is, was it always like this, but we just didn't get the news?
definitely to some extent. Like, there's no way. What you can say though is to like the world is better today than it was 200 years ago, and it's not close. And we know that. Like, there's way less poverty than there was 200 years ago. It's not close. There's way more resources and food available today, for example, for people than there ever was before. There's less violent conflict in the world now than there has been historically. And so we know we're moving in a good direction, generally speaking. I could actually tie it back to some of those courses that I had at the end of my college years. Part of the arguments in those classes was there was always historically some sort of underlying narrative that bound large groups of people together and large groups of societies together as like a first principle. So let's just say we don't know each other, we live in different parts of Germany. There's some sort of ethos that binds us together, whether we're conscious of it or not. That's how we've been raised up. It's a part of who we are. And that's becoming something that is less it's less a part of our culture today than it used to be. I think you could make an argument that that's part of the reason we seem to be having a little bit more of a trend towards extreme beliefs in both directions, because that fabric underneath us or that used to bind us isn't as strong as it used to be.
Why? What happened to the fabric?
You gotta ask an expert, man. I don't know.
Maybe because like back in the days, there were always wars, right? Basically, in a lot of countries. So Germany, there was a world war. So you're standing up for one thing. Germany we're for Germany. In Poland, we're for Poland. Whatever, right?
Yeah.
But right now, there's no war in Germany, and everything's at peace.
The conflict does bring people together
together.
on each side of the conflict. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting concept. If everything is just perfect, people will probably go crazy.
And also, like, when you say the society is better right now than 200 years ago, I agree with that point. But if you look at the mental health state for a lot of people, there's so many people committing suicide. We even heard of a suicide and from a friend as well, like, not our friend, but like a friend of a friend, and that just makes me so sad. I heard also there's a lot of men suicides as well, and it's just a loss of cause. You don't feel needed anymore. I heard that the number one thing for men that committed suicide, the reason was they didn't feel needed.
What do you think of this? Because it plays into that underlying ethos. Like, part of the reason you have that some sort of narrative or story underneath you is because at some point, doesn't matter how much factual information that you have that you can grasp that's finite in some way, you get to a point where you no longer can grasp it in your own hands, if that makes sense. So what I mean by that is you might be able to, even if, theoretically science can answer all the how and what questions in the world, you understand everything, you still don't know why any of it exists. You don't know why your life has meaning. You don't know if it has meaning. And so part of the reason that underlying narrative or story is important is because it can help give people a sense of meaning. They have a sense of duty, a sense of responsibility, something that they're here to do. Yeah. And so that's part of that used to be a religious thing, which isn't as much now. And so, now theoretically you could go in the street today, ask people what gives them meaning in their life. You might get a million different answers. My guess is if you asked the same question 100 years ago, you would get the same answer or very similar answers from a lot of different people.
Yeah. And maybe that's like that for men as well. I'm not trying to concentrate too much on men, but a lot of men, they just lost their meaning, because 200 years ago, what's the meaning of a man? It's to provide for the family.
Yeah.
But right now, there's a lot of cases that the women are earning more than the men. Then it's like, why do I need a man? What value does a man bring to life? Because nurturing for a child, a woman's always going to have that if they have a child, right? Because you give birth to a child, you have a different connection than a father and a child. So it comes more naturally for the woman. But a man, if you can't provide, and you just lose a sense of meaning.
Yeah, I feel like what you were saying, I feel like back then if you asked that question, what is your purpose, say 200 years ago, it would have been family, raising my child, something like that. They would have all protect, bringing security for my family. I feel like that would be a very common answer, right? And these days it's, would be all over the place, I bet.
I think the really positive thing about trying to strive for equality and personal autonomy so people have the choices is that let's say, 100 years ago, if you're a woman, you can't vote, you have less opportunity, your life's really well defined, but you don't have the opportunity to take in part in life all the other experiences you might want to. So it's great now because we're moving in a direction, should continue to, where everybody has the same opportunity to do whatever it is that they want. But I think what's also important is we don't do ourselves any service by trying to pretend that we are all naturally suited for the same exact thing. You want everyone to have the chance to do whatever they want, and we should support that. But it makes sense also to be respectful to some of the biological roots that we have as well.
Yeah, it's tricky because I think the more choice doesn't always mean it's better. I feel like the more choices you have, the more. I'm not saying we shouldn't have the options, but I'm just saying it is.
No, I got a good story for you. That's why I'm
laughing.
Yeah.
Nah, that was basically it. That's it. Nah, but it's I talk about this when I get in discussions with people about people being gay and stuff, because I know a lot of super religious people and Muslim people, and they're, that's not in line with their religion. And I have discussions about, some of them think that they're mentally sick, and they think, okay, if you just go from nature, what nature is, like, you're not going to have gay people and stuff. Well, that's not true at all, because it is from nature. Like, it didn't just float out of the sky like a balloon that was written with these options on it. Like, it came from someone, because someone was feeling it, right? And like, from their perspective, okay, let's say, this isn't my perspective, just to get this clear. Let's say if you're gay, you're sick, right? Let's say back in the day, there's only two options. Either you're a man or a woman, right? Now you have a million options, right? And let's say if you went into a store, let's just use this example. There's a soccer ball, right? And it's black, just a black soccer ball. Everyone's going to buy that black soccer ball, right? And you're going to love that soccer ball. You're going to be perfectly satisfied with that. Now let's say if you get 5 different colors. All of a sudden people are going to start buying these different colors because you have the option, right? And that doesn't mean because that one thing was there, when that one thing was there, that was the only option, everybody was happy with it.
No,
I can give you the actual example from my life, because I'm shopping I get married next week, and I shopped for the first time in 10 years for clothes that weren't something I could play sports in. And so I needed a suit. I spent 2 full fucking days in every single department store in the entirety of Cologne, and I have no image in my head of what I want. Like, I can find some cool photos on Pinterest. I'm like, yeah, that looks good. Can you make that for me? Nobody has this stuff. I'm lucky enough to find some boutique store somewhere in the city. I show this guy a photo. He goes, give me 5 minutes. He gives me like 3 different options, and we build an outfit from there. I left feeling like $1 million. I'm like, this is fantastic, dude. Completely overwhelmed by trying to figure it out on my own. This guy just gave me options like a little kid. It was fantastic, though. I got some. I'm super happy with it. Yeah, too much choice is just as bad as not enough.
Yeah. What were you gonna say? You were gonna say, sorry, but I find that so funny, because that's true. You wouldn't shop for anything except for sports clothes for years.
Dude, I don't think I bought a legitimate piece of clothes. Most of the clothes that I own right now come from...
Can I squat in this? No.
I just got lucky when I got big. I still fit in everything. And I have to reshop again.
Oh, man. What were you going to say? To my black... By the way, my black ball doesn't have anything to do with race in this scenario. I know. It's just like... Okay.
I think, in my opinion... You're saying, like, in our society, we give a lot of choices. That's why people say, all right, I'm going to be that or that, right?
Yeah.
Because back in the days, you're either a man or a woman.
I think, like, let's say we have 5 genders right now, right? If tomorrow we had 25, there'd be a lot of people that would call themselves the 25th.
Look, in my opinion, like, I'm very open-minded in that sense. Right?
I'm open-minded too. And again,
I
I can't speak for any of, I don't want to say these people, but I have my own...
The people that are affected.
I have my own experience, and that's the way that I feel. So obviously, I don't know what someone else feels, but,
So in my opinion, I'm not an expert on this topic as well. But
no, you're not.
Yeah, I know. I just think of it like back in the days, it was just men and women. And it's the same thing as we were talking about the society as well.
Wait, can I say something?
No.
I think there's always been these gender spectrums. Yes. But I think back then in the days, like think in Thailand, the lady boys, right? They've been around forever, but back then they were like, okay, like I'm a boy, but I feel like a woman, and I'm gonna dress in women's clothes, and I'm gonna go. You know what I mean? Like it was just.
Bro, I think our society has just become more safe for people to out themselves. That's why they're just coming out. I think there were always the people like in the past as well, but it wasn't a safe place for them to come out. So they were probably like, oh, I have to hide my identity, or I have to hide my sexuality or whatever. But right now, it is a safer place. It's not the safest place, but it is a safer place to come out with your own, with your sexuality or your gender, and that's why we see them more. Let's say. And also because of social media, anybody can post, anything can go viral, whatever. That's why it seems like, oh, it's just much more than in the past. But as I was saying, I'm not an expert, so there's a disclaimer there. But that's how I see it.
You think any of it's social? Because I think part of it's social. I think you're definitely right. There's definitely people that wouldn't have felt comfortable, that may have always been that way, that now feel comfortable to come out, and that's a great thing. But I definitely think some of it's social.
Yeah, for sure. People love to belong to a group, and now they can be in these groups that nobody else understands them but your group, and they understand you perfectly, and you can go be a part of it. What do you guys think about the Olympics opening ceremony? I'm not a fan of that, I have to say.
I'm not a fan of it as well. I'm not.
Did you see it at all?
Dude, like that's...
Oh, man.
What I would say is, first of all, kind of like my opinion was it kind of fit Paris, because that's a little bit of Paris' style, I think. I don't have a problem with it, but like we were having a conversation before about politics before the podcast, and part of my frustration is there's always in it a little bit of a naiveness to people on the left side of the spectrum, and on the right side of the spectrum, just blatant extremism. And so like in America, that became a huge thing.
Yeah.
It was like right-wing Christians were coming out going, this is an attack on Christianity and it's disrespect. Like, dude, you're taking it too far.
Hey, I saw a lot of that. I saw a lot of that disrespecting Christianity. Well, there was a couple strange things. For example, like you see the golden cow, like that's something straight out of the Bible, like an idol from the devil. Like, why are you bringing a golden cow then? You know, there was some stuff that was a bit weird.
I don't know like, about to talk about it. I can just say it felt like, of course, I had a little bit of a feeling like, okay, of course, we're going to have a big thing in the Olympics about that. Because anytime we talk about unity, it usually goes in that direction, which is fine. Whatever, dude. Those people have not had probably a fair enough amount of the spotlight. So who cares? And to be fair, I was entertained by it. Like, I thought it was, I enjoyed the ceremonies. So
did you watch it?
I probably called like 2 hours.
And it was also like there's pictures from the Bible, right? Of like Jesus and then all the disciples like lined up on this table, like
the
eating.
Last Supper.
But I think they said it
wasn't the Last Supper. Yeah. It was like inspired by the yeast or something, right?
Something.
Maybe then it just looked
ancient,
exactly the same as that. I don't know.
It looked very similar for sure, and that's why
and it's this like drag queen in the middle, like exactly in Jesus' spot. Like, I can definitely understand it.
But I heard they weren't trying to imitate the Last Supper. So, and I think that's like the biggest misunderstanding between the people. That's like saying like, oh, like we hate that and stuff. But I understand that. Like you can look at that and then you can just think, okay, they're trying to like make fun of the Last Supper. I understand it. I think they should have thought a little bit better. But I just saw a picture, so I can't really give that much opinion on it. And I'm not religious, so.
I don't know. It's just America's the classic example because really you had senators coming out way over the top. This is a disrespectful act. They're coming for our Christian values. Like, no, they're not. Like, they're just drag queens dancing. Like, they're not coming for your Christian values. But on the flip side, I can't lie. Like, there was a piece of me that was just like, okay, like, I got it. Like, we're cool with trans people now. Great, live your life. That's all good. But it doesn't need to be a major part of everything now.
Yeah.
Like,
which is strange because like I think the more I talk about this stuff, makes me realize I'm not as open about it as I think I am, right? Because honestly,
fair enough, yeah.
You know, I see that and I'm like, what is that? Like, come on. Like I saw comparisons from, let's say, like even I think to 2014 or something, you know, and it's people dancing and these beautiful ceremonies and riding horses and, you know, it's like this art thing and it's the celebration of these athletes. And like now you've got these drag queens and like a whole bunch of fat people. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you got to be open to the fact that maybe we're wrong. The hope is that people are also kind of meet you where you're at and not immediately, I don't know, assume bad things. The one other thing I could say is I was entertained. Like I thought it was, I was entertained by it. Like, I thought it was good.
I was just annoyed.
Did you see the whole video?
No, I didn't watch the whole thing. I just saw clips and stuff. But
I just saw the photo.
you're talking about it and all you saw is a photo. I'm talking about it and all I saw is 3 reels that people sent to me. Like, see, that's the thing, right? This is what Instagram and TikTok and everything does, right? I've formed a whole opinion based on a total of 20 seconds of video I've seen from it, right? So,
did you see the statues they did? I thought that was cool.
No.
So they, as the boats were coming through, before they did the dance thing, they raised new statues out of the water that are going to be put around Paris now. It's a famous. I think
cool.
They must all be from France, maybe I don't know, but it was just statues of famous women from the past who haven't gotten enough love yet. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, that's
cool.
cool.
All going to stay in the.
See, something like that's awesome. That's great. Like, it's something historic. It's artistic. I saw another video of I don't know what Olympics was, but it's a flaming. Maybe you guys saw it. He gets a flaming arrow and.
But look at that, bro.
When he shoots this flaming arrow into this cauldron and blows up and the Olympic torch is lit. Like, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a classic example. You said that, and we didn't even hear about that. And I mean, we formed our opinion just about like seeing that one video or that one photo.
Yeah. But I think the stuff that we saw was a pretty extreme part of the. I think the stuff we saw was a pretty extreme part of the ceremony. Yeah,
probably.
There's, like, my feeling about it though is there's somewhere a line. Like for example, America is the great example of this right now, because if you're somebody on the left side of things, I think that the right's really dangerous to American democracy. But what I can say is the left does everything they can possibly do to piss off the guy that might be in the middle and a little bit uncomfortable with the rate of progress. And what you're trying to do is hopefully speak to that guy and let him know there's nothing to be scared of here. Things are okay. We're moving forward in a good direction. And there's seems to always be this insistence of taking it just a little bit too far. And it's the exact opposite thing that you should be doing if you want to try to get the guy who you can win over. You can't win over the crazy Trump guy who's going to storm the Capitol on January 6th. You can forget him. It's not possible. But there is a guy in the middle who you can
have to find the common ground.
I am so removed from American politics, but again, from what I've seen online, it seems like it's like this against that, left against right. And if you're on the right side, you're doing your shit and you're going along with this and you're moving forward, and it's, either they follow or they don't. It's not like you said, it's not like they're trying to, or okay, maybe they are trying to, but it's not like they're effectively bringing over the guy in the middle. It's like either we're doing our stuff, fuck you. Yeah. Either you're in or you're out, Truth
is getting pretty mixed up with that too.
Yeah.
There's the things we know, and then there's the things we either don't know or we still have to figure out. And unfortunately now on both sides, they just assume they know everything and their version is completely correct. And that's no good.
We should probably wrap it up.
It's politics.
Over an hour.
Politics.
What's your favorite podcast drink?
My favorite podcast drink? Yeah, we should do something like that. We can get a new drink or a new food every time we can try. My favorite podcast drink is Hafermilch, oat milk.
Oh, we should do like at the end, like maybe you have a question for the next guest and then we ask that question.
That's such an original idea. It's not like any other podcast does that.
No, I haven't got that from another podcast.
That's crazy.
You know where it's from, right?
Of course I know where it's from. Billionaire thing.
The Diary of a CEO.
That one, right?
Oh, I find that so nice.
You know that podcast?
I don't know.
With Steve Bartlett.
Well then hit him with it then. Just to wrap up here.
Yeah. So
just a random
random question.
So for the next guest that we have on, what's the question you have for them?
Just a random question?
Mm-hmm. Anything you like.
It can be deep. It can be just.
What's your favorite podcast beverage?
All right. Thank you for listening.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up then. Yeah. Austin, thank you very much. I honestly enjoyed that a lot. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, appreciate
Could keep
appreciate you having me on.
Could keep talking for a couple hours, but we gotta cut it off. We got things to do here today.
Yeah, and congratulations on your marriage.
I appreciate it.
And also, good luck in Switzerland as well.
Appreciate that.
Cool. Maybe we can get you back on again before you go then. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everybody.